The biggest opportunity in the past decade is here for wholesaling real estate. Guys, some insane things happened yesterday, and we have to talk about it. Crazy things are happening. Buyers are heating up. Demand is about to skyrocket out of insane proportions for wholesaling real estate. And this is an opportunity for you to take advantage of. What is up, guys? Zach Ginn here.
Rick Ginn here.
And in today's video, we are talking about the biggest opportunity in the past decade for wholesaling real estate. We don't say that lightly either, but you're about to see a massive wave that is coming with the amount of money you can make in wholesaling. That is, I hate to say, I don't like saying, but like outside, this is outside your control. Like it's going to happen no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And we're here to talk about it today. So we're here to break down the numbers and really show exactly what is going on, so we can know what's happening. So your first question is, what happened? Like, what's this opportunity? What's going on, and why is this happening? Right?
Well, it's real simple. And you're thinking, like, how does this tie to wholesaling? Is the Federal Reserve, which is basically the government, I'm not going to get in the politics of it, has basically dropped the Federal Reserve rate, which is basically the rate that all banks, everybody sets their interest rates on. And honestly, we haven't had a rate drop in 4 years. Okay. And they just did.
Let's just show the chart really quick. All right. So here's the chart of the mortgage rates, basically. So just kind of show you some of the raw data. Okay. Actually, can I go on the other side? There you go. Here's basically just the raw data since 2020, right?
Correct.
Of the mortgage rates.
And just to kind of show you, it's there was a big trend from basically from the end of 21 all the way up till actually, this last week. It just, everyone's like, gosh, when are they going to drop interest rates? The purpose, the Fed tries to use it as a tool to save off inflation. That's a whole nother debate if it actually worked, because remember, inflation is measured year over year. So once it goes up 21%, the next year, if it only goes up 2%, think about it. It's a 24% increase, 23%. So it's used as a tool to help stimulate the economy. In my opinion, it's well overdue. But this has been the hype and everything. And what we want to do today is show you what effect this is going to have, particularly on wholesaling. And we need to look at in totality, and most importantly, what do you need to do going forward?
So the Fed rate, or the federal funds rate, dropped by 50 basis points, which is about 0.5%. And it's getting interesting, right? So the timing is very interesting with this, right? This is during right before the election, which I think helps one candidate over the other. We're not getting all politics, but this makes one person just a lot. It's going to help them a lot more than someone else. But really, it's getting very interesting, right? This is going to have a massive effect on real estate and a massive effect on wholesaling. And like usual, me and Rick have to sit down here and tell you about this opportunity that no other person in wholesaling wants to tell you. Isn't it crazy? We're the only, without us, no one would know about this, or what about the wave that's going to happen.
Well, you'll hear about it weeks later. Weeks later, after tons and tons of edits. So you have to look at the opportunity. So remember, real estate, it does take time, but it's all about expectations and momentum. A lot of you, I don't know about you, for the last 2 or 3 years, cash buyers have been difficult. They've been very critical. They look at what the interest is going to cost them to get the money. They look at the demand on real estate. And guys, I'm telling you, this, which we're going to go in much more detail today, is mostly what we're going to focus on today to show you is that positive energy. So let me give you an example. If you go to the stock market right now, you will see it is up at record proportions, about 3%. The difference between the stock market and real estate, stock market tests enthusiasm instantly because it's very liquid. Real estate, usually it will spill over there and have a 6 to 18 month lag. That's the exciting part, guys. I'm going to show you some charts and some stuff today to show you some of the frustrations you guys have gone through the last 2 or 3 years, if you've stuck out wholesaling, you're about to be massively rewarded. Yeah. Because I went through this in a different capacity in 2008, but there's some rhyme and reason to it. If you stick it out and you learn the wholesaling journey, you're going to find out when the pendulum swings, you can massively, massively just kill it as a wholesaler. And remember, I've been doing this, I'm approaching 22 years. And we're going to talk about like pent up demand. We're going to talk about some terminology. But once again, we are going to focus on the wholesaling side today. I'm not here to give you the entire like Forbes research and show you how everything to do, but you've got to understand. So interest rates right now, as we shoot this video live, is around 6.25%.
So what I want to do is just show everyone this about what kind of opportunity we're talking about. So I'm a visual guy. So let's kind of we looked at kind of the smaller chart. This is a bigger chart. This is the historical 30-year mortgage rates in the United States of America. Now, we're not even going to talk about the 80s because
that's crazy.
That was an insane time. But let's kind of talk about when Rick started, right? Rick kind of started about right in this area, right?
Correct.
Where you're going to see these trends. Okay, so this isn't a stock. If you look at stocks, they just usually go up. Or if you look at real estate prices, they jack up. So we'll show the difference between the two. But this is mortgage rates. Now, mortgage rates are very, very tied with wholesaling because it shows buyer demand. Now, as we see here, okay, this area right here is where Rick kind of started, right? Mm-hmm. He became very successful with wholesaling because he got rich on the slide down. So the one thing I will tell you is the greatest opportunity in wholesaling real estate. Now, you can make money. Mortgage rates do anything, right?
Correct.
And we've made millions either way. But the most money you make in wholesaling is the fun slide down. So I like to think of it as a slide or skiing, right? Mm-hmm. Without a lift. Going up the mountain is not fun. It's painful. It's a lot of work. Gravity's against you. But when you ski down, it's nice and smooth. Going up the slide and the ladders and all that is a lot of work. But when you slide down, it's fun and easy, right?
A good analogy is when rates are going down, which maybe you can pull up that graphic. I'm going to show you something. Yeah. It's go put the mortgage rates. So if you look from like 2013 roughly all the way to 2020, there was the biggest boom of wholesale gurus you've ever seen in your life. You know why? Everybody thought they were geniuses.
Well, I'm just trying to show people. So what we're trying to show you is when you hit these big slides, when mortgage rates jack down, mm-hmm. buyers spike up. And so Rick got started 2004, which is right. You see where the tip of 2000, where it just jacks, slides all the way down. This is where Rick got started. He got really lucky. Now, if you look exactly when I got started wholesaling, it was kind of like this slide down right here to 2016, Correct. 2017, right? And so if you want to know when's the most lucrative time to get into wholesaling, do you see this massive slide down from 2017 to like basically 2020? That was the best time. Jack down, slide down.
But it made everybody look smart, even if you were dumb and you didn't. Like during that time, I'll tell you, a lot of stuff was out on the internet, social media of just put a house under contract and just throw it back out there. There was no fundamentals. And on a downward market, what we're trying to show you is everybody looks like a genius.
So right here's more like, let's kind of look at like where we're kind of exactly now. Where we're at right now is we've had this steep climb up. It's been climbing up since 2021. Climb. And climbs, you can make a lot of money. We've made a lot of money.
You can.
But it's not fun to climb. It's easier to slide. And what you said here is we kind of hit the peak right here, right? At like almost 8%. Now, because of what the Fed just did, we are about to do exactly what you saw on like 2017. We're going to have a nice, easy slide down. And when this thing slides down, buyers are going to want to buy a ton. Prices go up, which means so buyers want to buy more and they want to buy more for more prices.
Correct.
And the best part about a slide down, which we'll share today, sellers don't know about this. You're probably watching this as a newer wholesaler. You might even be a homeowner watching, so you don't know about this.
Mm-hmm.
Because the average person doesn't care. Just being honest. But us real estate investors actually have inside information about this. It's like insider training for wholesaling. It's great that the seller doesn't really know about the Fed funds rate. Like they don't. You have the average seller off the street. They do not know a thing about this, right?
Yeah.
They're about like mortgage rates. That's all they care about. And so you're going to have inside information about the seller, and they're going to sell for a discount. Buyer's going to buy for a premium, and this is when we make the most money. So this is what we're talking about, and this is why it's so exciting. So let's kind of talk about exactly how we got to this point, right? Why are buyers about to come in from everywhere, right? I think you call it like a handcuffed, right?
Yeah. So you guys from basically, I don't know, 2019, 20, we've had such a fake artificial interest rate environment. We had rates as low as 2.5% on certain mortgages. Guys, that's honestly, we've only seen it once in 75 years, and it wound up being almost about a 4-year spread. So what it did is just to show you, don't listen to what me and Zach do. Look at the pre-history on it. So remember, watch what somebody does over what they say. So when rates were that low, people just went crazy and bought everything. They didn't care. They're like, it's such cheap money. Let's go in. Let's go crazy. And so people were ignoring what the end price is. They were so asphyxiated with what their low rate is. But, here we are in 2024, and we have this process where a lot of you guys even watching this, some people is you have that low interest rate you got back in 2021 or 20, and you're like, oh my God, it's such a good rate. It's 7-8% right now. I could never sell my property. Well, guess what? At the disparity from 8% to like sub 3%, that gap is dwindling. And when it does, people go, okay, let's sell our property. Let's talk about the other effect. The refinance boom. Don't even try to call a mortgage broker today. Their phones are ringing off the hook. Why? People use their house like a piggy bank. And this is all going to be funds. Why is that important to you? Because cash buyers are going to piggyback their houses and have liquid cash to do it. So that handcuff, basically the Fed has given the key and go, okay, you guys can release it. Now people can access capital easier. People are going to make decisions to put their house on the market. People are going on a refi. And this is just going to be a major real estate boom. And I'm just telling you, it's like, all I got to do is look at the mortgage brokers first. Go ahead and try to call your mortgage broker. They're probably not going to return your call today. And you know what the mortgage broker's been doing the last 3 years? It's like they don't know what to do. They fired most of their employees. Yep. So mortgage brokers always go through this up and down. It's a rough business if you're not the owner of the business. And for that reason, that disparity in gap from 8% to 3%, all of a sudden when it gets down to 4%, you have 3. It's not that big of a deal. 1 or 1.25. People are not going to go, okay, I can't sell it because there's a 5% interest rate difference. And this just stimulates the economy. Cash buyers, retail buyers, refinance. All of a sudden, you're going to see real estate agents, they're just going to come out of the roof right now. They've disappeared over the last 3 years.
Yeah.
So it's going to get interesting with their lawsuit. But guys, the bottom line is more activity means more opportunity for you, the wholesaler. I like active markets. But we'll keep going through and give you some more details on how this is going to affect you as the wholesaler.
It's going crazy. So there's a big refinance boom coming.
Yeah. So it's, guys, all that handcuff money, it's like people have been holding back. Like people don't want to pull $100,000 out and pay 8-9% on a HELOC loan. That's a home equity line of credit. You're going to be bombarded with HELOC ads everywhere now. And why? Because there's trillions of dollars at access. That trillions of dollars, you, the wholesaler, us, want to get that in our hands. HELOCs, people massively underestimate the effect that has for the cash buyers, for wholesalers, our ultimate end customers. When people can access the HELOC, it's magical, guys. It is not only refinances, but like the HELOC, because the cash buyers, they're the ones, they probably get at least a third of their money from like HELOC loans. These things are going to explode. This pent up demand, everybody's making phone calls. Heck, I've even made phone calls on possible stuff we can do with our properties. Everybody's looking to resize. 1031s are going to explode. That's basically when people sell one like property and buy another one. They take advantage of a tax loophole in the system. And Guys, it is endless. I've never been more excited that like, finally it's going to come. And here's the crazy part is it was 50-50 if they were even going to do a rate cut, but everyone thought it'd be 25 basis points. They doubled it to 50. Timing's very interesting. Gas prices are suddenly dropping. Money's being released. I'm not a rocket scientist here, but I have to just focus on what the effect is the wholesalers, because me and Zach will always tell you, we only focus on our highest set skill set, which is wholesaling. I'm not going to sit here and speculate, but you guys can read between the lines. But the bottom line is I want you to understand this enthusiasm of people like, I can get money. You know how many real estate projects have been set on the sideline because the cost of the capital has been so high.
I'm telling you. Also, can I also explain something that's why and a lot of people, I get comments all the time, Zach, you and Rick's ego are insane talking down to the real estate professionals all day. Let me explain something. Exactly 1 month ago, not to mention names, Real Estate Wholesaling Gurus went on all their channels, all their YouTube stuff, all their Instagrams, all their Facebook communities, all their paid communities, and said, because the stocks went down 7% in a day a month ago, right? Mm-hmm. After jacking up 60%.
Oh, yeah.
That it's going down right now. Everything is going down. Like the economy is about to collapse. The world is ending and it's all going down crazy. And they told you to prepare for the economic apocalypse.
Yep.
This was a month ago. Just a FYI. You know why? Because they all had programs about how to stay alive during the next apocalypse, because you're going to have to be eating cats and dogs and stuff to survive, right? They're basically saying that, like, it's everyone's going to be homeless unless you buy my course right now. A month later, we're about to have the biggest boom in real estate ever. Not ever, but like, I mean, in the past 5-10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, outside of the sickness that happened, I can't say that. Outside of that boom, like it depends how much they cut. If it cuts to zero, then yes, we're gonna see that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just letting everybody know that a month ago, every wholesaling guru except for Rick did a live stream a month ago.
Yep.
Said this is no. You got to double down.
It's a blip
at
best.
Blip. Like all the economic data says it's not, and they're about to cut the rates. You said that a month ago.
And all the fundamentals were there. All you had to do was look at the graphs, but all of a sudden it was like, oh my God, it's going off the cliff. If you took that advice, you literally got to start all over. And the thing is, listen, I've been around longer than most people, but like, just like I preached to you about the fundamentals of wholesaling, stop trying to find the latest little gimmick to get ahead. Focus on finding and locating motivated sellers and work with people that need to sell their house, not want to sell their house. And listen, when rates drop and you have the education, you have the training, and most importantly, the confidence, you can do amazing things. Now, when rates are going down, it's an analogy. It's like a dance. You just dance, you have a good time. When rates are going up and you're fighting with cash buyers, which a lot of you have been on that journey. And if you survived, you're about to be massively rewarded because you will crush everyone else. But the analogy on the way up, it's like wrestling to the top. You have to endure it. You got to get the crap kicked out of you with cash buyers. Put in the comments. Tell me the ones who've been.
Wholesalers have been we've been getting our snot beat
out
of us. You know why? Because sellers still think we have I call it the sickness because I can't say the word for the algorithm.
Yeah.
But you guys know what happened. Literally everyone is sitting around playing video games and playing Among Us. It was a stupid time. But basically during that time, prices went up. The sellers for the past 2 years have thought prices are still jacked up. And then the buyers are like, well, rates are 8% now. And the sellers don't think so. You know why? Because their mortgage rate's at 2%. So they think mortgage rates are still 2%. It's crazy, right?
Sellers are always behind the data. Like they're always old news.
So the sellers think it's still the previous time. And the buyers are like, 8% mortgage, buddy. I'm not overpaying. And the past 3 years have probably been harder than usual because of this uphill climb. And during these 3-4 years, you've seen people make, I mean, I see some people in the comments here, they've made millions during the hard time here, right? And here's the coolest part about that. If you can do really good during hard times, when it's easy times, it gets disgusting. And so we're about to hit a point where it's going to go reverse, where the seller thinks times are bad, rates are high, inflation terrible.
Yeah.
And the buyer's like, I'm ready to buy at 2-3%. That's where everything's heading. It's good. Because you know why buyers win overpay now versus like 4 months ago? Why? Because they know for a fact if rates keep cutting, even if they buy a house for $200,000 and there's no margins, prices are going to jack up just because mortgage goes down. Because the end buyers that you flip the house to, they don't care about the price.
Yep.
They only care about the monthly payment. And when the monthly payment goes down 50%, they will pay 50% more.
Yeah.
So that's why our flippers, cash buyers love this stuff.
And then as of last night and this morning, every property we had a buyer like on the fence, a cash buyer, every one of them locked it down. So like I'm giving you feedback directly from us. If you're working with someone, I would just work with those deals. And if you've made a ton of money or you've even done a few deals in the last 2 years, I'm here to tell you, you have taken the stoic approach to wholesaling because you did it probably during the most difficult time. But if you understand the fundamentals of when it was hard, you're going to use the same fundamentals when it gets easier. You're just going to get bigger spreads. See, tough people suck it up during tough times. And by the way, no business just has a cream puff all the way to the top. Even large corporations struggle. They've mostly been struggling with debt. So going forward, if you survived, you made money, you forged, you did deals, you got your butt kicked by buyers and sellers, I'm in here to tell you you're going to be rewarded. But listen, we got some caveats. We're going to warn you about some stuff coming down the line because some of you are about to be a target, and I'm here to give you the headlights. I'm going to shine light on it where you're about to be attacked. But guys, listen to me. If you stuck it out this long or you're just getting started now, no matter if you did it during hard times, good times, focus on the fundamentals. That has got me through 22 years of wholesaling. Guys, it wasn't always a gravy train. When it got bad, I stuck to fundamentals. When it got good, I stuck to fundamentals. The only time I ever got in trouble early in my wholesaling career is when I tried the latest, greatest gadget. And it will work for a short amount of time, and then you're going to get killed, and then you're going to have to, go back to fundamentals. What does your coach say when you're in Pee Wee League or even in your high school team? Hey, Ginn, you've got to get back to the fundamentals. You're getting too cute with this stuff. That's why you're getting beat. Football, baseball, basketball, soccer, it doesn't matter. Every sport, every business, you have to drill down fundamentals, period. If a guy can shoot a basket perfect, but he can't dribble, that's not going to make it. You can only get away so many games doing that. So no matter what I tell you going forward, I will always emphasize the fundamentals. It's not sexy, it's boring, and it doesn't sell a lot of courses, but it gives you the tools to actually have a long-term business plan in wholesaling. Without it, do you know how many, I always say marathon sprinters. Do you know how many sprinters I've met in wholesaling? About 95% of the people I meet in wholesaling are sprinters. They want to look good. They want to do their Heisman pose. You know what I'm talking about? And then eventually Rick's going to lap them because I stay in it. I rather you run the pace of a marathon than try to sprint, because the sprinter is always going to stop. And what do? They quit. The only way you screw up in wholesaling is you quit. Don't quit. Don't be a quitter. I believe in you.
Exactly. So let's talk about this. So every guru, I'm just letting everyone know, we don't say this because we have these crazy egos. I'm legit telling you that these real estate gurus told you a month ago that the world's collapsing, and they told you to do the wrong thing. And this is why I like YouTube, because the receipts are here. The receipts are here. Look at Rick's video live stream from a month ago, telling you how you need to even go hard on the fundamentals and how it's like, don't even worry about this. Okay, it's going to get even crazier. How much more money you can make. And everyone said the world's ending, the world was ending, and we just stuck to the fundamentals and said it's not, because of your real estate experience, my experience, and just what I know from the true data. These gurus only look at the stock market and then make a video based on wholesaling based on the stock market, We base it off of how real wholesaling real estate deals are done and us in the trenches every single day. And so we're just saying that, not to say anything bad, but like these gurus are going to just be talking crazy stuff. Okay. It's insane. So let's talk about this. Okay. What we need to know first and foremost is going to be more cash buyer demand than ever on the retail side, from your cousin who's buying their first house to your cash buyer to your landlord type guy. It's going to get crazy. The one thing I will tell you is the least good type of real estate deals I'm going to say is probably cheap rentals. This isn't going to affect them that much, in my opinion. So that type of property. So if you're in like Cleveland, if you're in Akron, Western Pennsylvania, I'm not trying to make you upset, Rochester, New York. Like, this isn't going to be like the opportunity of a century for those like cheap rental type properties, if you know what I'm talking about. This opportunity and boom is going to be more towards single family houses that have a lot of demand for people living in there, or first time home buyers, right?
Correct.
So we got to understand that too, right? So if your ARV is over 150 and for single family houses, this is more skewed towards where you're going to be at. And let's just do some math here. Officially, we're about a 5% buyer savings with this rate cut, right?
Yeah. So listen, if it goes down, so the 5%, I'm sorry, the 0.5% reduction saves someone 5%. So if you just take what you pay towards your mortgage, they get a 5% savings for the year. And, you know, it doesn't sound like a lot when you do it. Like on an average, I believe on like a modest $250,000 home, it's like $110 savings a month. But over the year, it adds up. They look at it and people just like, they get enthralled with it. So every time the rate cuts, people feel like they have more buying power.
Yeah.
So the next thing we have to talk about when we do this math is, okay, if they get more buying power, what effect is that going to have on the inventory level across the nation? Well, this is like a double-edged sword. So if we want to talk about real estate inventory, we've been in an artificially low environment for the foreseeable the last 4 years. Why? We talked about the handcuff. People got such low interest rates and the disparity, it didn't make sense to swap up. As those rates come down, people are going to make a lot of decisions. Realtors are going to be very happy. Mortgage brokers are going to be ecstatic. And so you want to know where I think real estate inventory is going. So I'll pull up a stat here. It's not the most exciting stat, but pull up the inventory one.
You can do it.
Okay. I'm trying to.
You got it.
Let's see.
That's housing inventory right there.
So if you look at on this, so this is a national level. You guys need to look at your local level. You can see how artificially it was low for almost 4 years. Now you've seen in this year, it's gone up.
Look at January 2022.
But you can see a little bit of sloping on the top. So listen, I can't tell you what the future holds, but here's the effect that's going to be on inventory. It's still a little bit low because if you look, it should be well above where it is now, but people are going to free up inventory. There's going to be a lot of buyers. So most likely inventory is going to go up, but I'm here to tell you guys.
Well, they don't want to sell because at my 3% mortgage, I'm not going to get rid of it. But now if mortgages are at 4%,
yeah,
they're going to want to get rid of it.
Yeah. So I'm telling you guys, the good thing is the more volume in real estate, the more opportunities as a wholesaler. How many sellers have you met that like, I'd love to sell it, but I can't afford an 8% mortgage rate. And more importantly, they couldn't afford the price level in the United States. And I'm here to tell you, where do I see inventory going? It's simple. I believe it's going to be a steady flow. I believe the buyers and the sellers are going to offset each other's demand and inventory will rise slightly, but nothing crazy. Why is that important? Because the classic case of a real estate crash is inventory spikes is what you were all told, a month or two ago? It's going to explode. No one's going to get a mortgage and we're going to have a collapse in the real estate market. So now we have the opposite happening. So when all this pent up demand gets released and it's like an animal. Says, guys, listen, back in from 2008, 9 to 2011, it was painful as a wholesaler. So I was a reinvented wholesaler. I went back to the fundamentals. And I got to tell you, from that pent up demand, I had cruise control for the next 10 years. I've never seen an easier time in wholesaling. The gurus showed you that because everybody's a genius, and then half of them disappeared. And I'm telling you, if you've been frustrated, you've like beating your head against the wall, long as you did the fundamentals, you're about to be massively rewarded for the journey of wholesaling, because that pent up demand, it always sways in real estate. Remember, just like when people pass away, we have actuaries for insurance companies. Real estate's the same way. The amount of transactions, they sway. So if they're light for 3 years, they typically explode for 7 years.
Well, so one stat I want to show you is, now, I mean, you're the worst example of this, actually. I am too. So think about this. Basically, the average home ownership, okay? So a lot of people think that the average person that owns a home lives in it for 40 years. That is never really the case. So if you actually look at the stats, statistically, 35% of homeowners live in a house less than 10 years. The average length of home ownership is 8 years. So
and that's up from.
Oh, it's up, like it used to be 5 or 6.
Well, it's because of the handcuffed effect.
Well, think of this though. Right when the sickness happened and rates went really low, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone was selling their house, all this stuff. But now for the past almost 3 years, people haven't been doing it. So you have those people who just want to sell the house, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know why? Because the economy does better, and people usually, right, they make more money and they want a better place, or they want to go travel or go move some, right? Obviously. And they're not doing it because they're stuck with that they're handcuffed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now you have that generation of people that went out of their house. They're going to be able to do it now with lower rates.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the problem. It's always just like, I know personally people like that, where they live in like big areas, right? Like Fort Lauderdale, where it makes no sense to live in Fort Lauderdale if you're virtually working right now, and they want to go live in Missouri, right? But with mortgage rates, it's more expensive to live in rural Missouri than it is to stay in Fort Lauderdale, like basically a suburb of Miami, because the mortgage rates doubled, right?
Yep.
Now, mortgage rates are going to go down. It's going to be twice as cheaper to go do that. Exactly. And so that person who's been holding on forever, they're gone. And then the average Sal and Joseph that, are looking to upgrade their house, now they're gone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you got to remember, the reason why people sell their house isn't because they sell because they're looking to lose money. What happens is, this is the American dream, by the way. You buy your first home, a married couple in their late 20s, right?
Mm-hmm.
3-2. They start having kids. It gets crowded. Husband and wife making more money. Now they get a better place. Now they're in their 50s and 60s. Now they want a better place. Now they're 60. The kids leave. Now they want to downsize. So there's like, the average person in their lifetime has about 5 stages of home ownership, right? Renting, buying the first home, upgrading that home. Now they're making the most money.
Mm-hmm.
Now the kids left. Now they're looking to downsize their home. And then they go in the nursing home, so they sell that house.
Yeah.
And so how generations work is, every 10, 15 years, they sell the house because of something. And that's not even job changes and all this crazy stuff. And the problem is, there's been like a lost generation of people upgrading, downgrading, all these things that's about to unlock.
It's going to explode.
And so that's just inventory. Tell me if I'm at a place there, but This is what I've seen. Here's the thing. Me and Rick have a lot of experience wholesaling. Rick definitely way more than us. We have read books from the 70s about real estate, the 60s, 50s. We are in unprecedented times. And I'm not going to lie to you here. Okay. With this inventory thing, we know what happens when mortgage rates go down. But we don't know what happens when mortgage rates go down and the most insane pent-out demand has happened. So we can only guess, when you add more gas on a fire, it gets bigger. But what happens when you double the amount of gas you put on the fire? Yeah. My theory is it's going to give you nuts.
So the bottom line is, when we talk about inventory, because that's one of the key fundamentals just of real estate, and you need to understand as a wholesaler, is all these bold predictions made a few months ago by everybody on the internet, is they said, inventory is going to explode. Guys, I'm just telling you, I'm a betting man on this. it's going to be hard for it to explode with dropping rates. So let's talk real quick about the interest rates again. I'm just going to sum it up.
Go up, but I don't think it's going to explode.
No, I think it's going to go level, which is good because the more inventory, the more ability people can negotiate.
Is that active inventory or just homes listed for the year? Because I think there's a big difference between that too.
So that's, I don't get into like the realtor stats.
Going to be scooped up like crazy.
Yeah. So I believe demand's going to drop a little bit and then it's going to increase somewhat, but I think it's going to be very modest and balanced. Remember, guys, it's been artificially low. So if you look at the median of that, yes.
You got to remember active listings. When we have a healthy market, it's listed, but they're scooped up. The problem is,
and this data is lagging too.
The problem is there's kind of like a cumulative effect with these listings because they just been sitting.
They've been sitting and rotting.
So I don't think an explosion, like I would think we both agree with that. But I think we're going to get scooped.
That's a key fundamental. If you're ever going to have a quote market crash, you have to look at inventory. And so I implore all of you, you can look it up in your local county realtors, blah, 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 association, whatever. Remember, most of their data is lagging 3 months behind. That's why it's kind of useless at dated information. We like to act today. Guys, inventory might go up a little bit or it's going to go flat. That's a really good sign. So what does that mean? The next thing is we talk about real estate prices and like, how is this net effect going to be? And I want to show you the boomerang effect for wholesalers on real estate pricing. So I'd love to see in the comments, you guys think price is going to go up, going to go down, going to stay flat? What do you think?
So prices are interesting, right? So here's the thing. Again, me and Rick, we are not real estate fortune tellers. We are giving you the top stats that we can make it informed. So we made an informed decision based on everything we knew that the real estate was not going to be 2008 situation based off zero fundamentals, right?
Zero.
Prices are interesting here because,
so think about pricing there's just two fundamental stats you look at in anything pricing, any business, any economy. Now, I fell asleep during economics in high school, but I learned a few things in business. So number one, you always look at supply. Supply means as a wholesaler, you look at the real estate inventory. We just addressed that. We think it's going to go slightly up or flat. We think it's going to be offset with the increased demand because people have access to capital and people get excited about getting into real estate. Number two, you look at demand. Let me ask you, Zach, if the Fed is on a mission to drop rates for 2 years consecutive, what effect do you think that's going to have on real estate demand?
Well, it's supply and demand. So if demand jacks up, so let's say inventory stays the same, prices will go up, but inventory will be going up, and price and demand will be going up. So I think it's going to be kind of even. If I'm a betting man, I don't think prices are going to stay flat. I say they go up, but they don't go up insane.
They don't go up insane,
but they still go up. But let me show you a stat, okay? Let's just talk about real estate in general, okay? Let's look at, here's what everyone wants to do, okay? I'm going to show you two stats, and I'm not saying that to be funny, but I'm going to show this to be funny. This is what the average real estate pundit, or like you watch CNN or Fox News or whatever it is, right? This is what they're going to show you. Let me show you what they're going to show you, okay? This is the housing price for 2021 to 2022. Man, things are getting crazy. I don't know if you should buy a house now. Should you buy a house? I don't know. Here's what a Zachary looks at. Let's look at historical from, right? Huh. Whoa. That's a little different. So that's the way that I look at rentals. This is the way Rick looks at rentals. This is the way I look at stocks.
Yeah.
Everyone loves to debate the little up and downs on this little end. I look at the full picture. And the pundits will talk about, from here to here to here. You look at the whole thing. So looking at this chart, do we see a trend?
Yeah,
this is the trend of panic attacks gurus have ever since me and Rick started our YouTube channel. It just keeps going up. And it's kind of a chart of my net worth, just keep going up. And it's kind of funny. And so what I can tell you is even if it goes down, it will eventually always go up.
And so I think the average home price as of this morning was $417,000 in the United States. Here's the crazy part. Since 2020, the average home price has gone up almost 50%. So listen, real estate's always going to be real. Yes, inflation's had a big effect on it. It's a positive effect if you're on the right side of the equation, which is the wholesaler side of the equation. But back to this, understanding the fundamentals of how things work in any economy, you only have to look at supply and demand. If I don't have something, I've got to take the highest price I can get. Boy, it sounds familiar. I'm not even going to tell you which industry targets that one. But the thing is, just look at the fundamentals. Stop looking at people's videos. Look at the fundamentals. Remember, always look at what somebody does over what they say, because the past is a good indicator of where people are going. Some people make major mistakes to make changes, but when it comes to the economy, when it comes to real estate and any other type of market that's tradable, look at the history. And not everything's exact, but things do rhyme. We say that over and over. Things always rhyme, and we're looking at it. So if I know supply is going to be about even, maybe up a slight tick, more opportunity, the Fed's going to drive rates down. People are going to refi. People are going to get HELOCs. More cash buyers come in the market. More people want to access real estate. End buyers, investors, the whole 9 yards. Guys, prices aren't going backwards. They fundamentally can't unless there's some sort of catastrophic event. Maybe the wrong party gets in there. I don't know. But the reality is everything's there. And so the Fed, just so you know, mortgage rates are about 6.2% as we speak. People are like, why did rates drop suddenly yesterday? Because they bake them in. They forecast what the cut's going to be and they put them in. So the target rate for 2025 is going to be around 5%. And in 2026, this is the Fed's words, not mine. The mortgage interest rates will run up at around 4.75. So guys, I see just a phenomenal 2-year run here on real estate.
Like, just look at the chart. Like, where's real estate going to go if you want to look at prices? Well, we could talk about what's going to happen in a year or two, but I know it's going to happen. Guys, look at this chart and tell me, is there a 10-year period where real estate did not go up any time?
No.
Right?
The roughest time was the 2008. So that flat part right there.
So let's look at this. 257 was the peak.
Correct.
It didn't hit 257.
And that took about 2.5 years.
That was 6 years. 6 years for it to go back to the peak.
Correct.
So yes, but if you look at 10 years, but then look at that chart that went up there. There's never been a 10-year period. Now there's 6 or 7 year blimps. And this is where Rick you started making your first millions of dollars wholesaling.
That was a lot of fun. But guys, listen, I cut my teeth from right there to the bottom. That's where I came the most effective because I stuck to the fundamentals. And then from 2012, 13 up to 2020, this is when every guru came out of the woodworks in wholesaling. I have this method. I have that. And they all seem like heroes. I'm going to be honest, like a 5-year-old baby could have flipped a house during that time. But all of a sudden, when things changed, interest rates went up, supply got tough, cash buyers dwindled. If you didn't do the fundamentals, you got killed. Gurus went on the air and go, if a guru said I got killed in 2021, 2022, or 2023, it means they weren't wholesaling. They got killed in fix and flipping and speculating.
Well, look at this too.
I don't teach speculating.
Prices were flat from 17 to 2019. And I mean, I remember this time I was making, we were all making.
It was insane.
But let me just show you. If you talk to any wholesaler who wholesaled in 2017 to 2019, they made stupid money. But prices didn't do anything. So even if price stays flat, you're going to do well. Prices go up, you're going to do well. So stop crying about this. Now, let me just tell you the data of why I know real estate's going to eventually keep going up. This is the United States GDP. Okay. Do we see do we see any difference on this?
No.
Okay. It's kind of the same. It's correlated kind of to real estate, right? Because when the U.S. makes money, then everyone makes money. let's look at the population. People have to live. I mean, I think we kind of see exactly where that trend's going in the United States. And there's always people want to immigrate here. And let's look at the most important stat for real estate prices. This is personal income for Americans. Do you see a chart? Like, unless it starts jacking down, which you're not going to see too much, you're going to be fine.
Yeah. So we've solved the inventory problem. We talked about supply. We've already seriously talked about the demand. So guys, listen, the bottom line is, when we talk about, we're going to have a lot more competition coming into the market, meaning there's going to be, and competition's excellent for wholesalers. Why? Guys, I miss the day when cash buyers used to line. Remember, they used to line up out the door. Oh, yeah. Can I please buy it? Please. I go, listen, just give me your best price and I'll let you know if you got it. And in fact, Wholesale Gurus came out with courses on like, let me show you how to bid it up. Well, listen, I'm not going to teach you how to be a realtor. Like, don't get greedy, get smart, do more deals. But if you got to sit there and like pimp it out on like an auction, that's not going to work in the long term. It'll work in short periods. And that's the problem. So guys, more competition is great for us because we need competition from cash buyers. It's been tough the last few years. I'm the first to admit it. But if you cut your teeth during that market, you understand you have more tools in 2024 to get your cash buyers to like, don't do it old school method. We teach you at X Leads. But guys, I'm really excited for everything coming down. And the last thing, let's add the last little government incentive.
Well, okay. Well, I have to. So first and foremost, buyers are going to get easier because of this, which means you don't need to spend $50,000 on a disposition software. For $159 a month at X Leads, by FYI, you get the same. Actually, you get better disposition software, and that also, when anyone signs up for X Leads, you also get access this year to version 2 that's going to be coming out, which we'll talk about that later. I'm not going to talk about version 2 of X Leads. But it's going to come out, and okay. But saying, these wholesaling software companies and gurus are trying to charge you more for disposition. It's going to get easier. So don't be paying these crazy.
So guys, what we're talking about is competition amongst cash buyers. Yes. So when you find a great wholesale deal, like, listen, I'll be the first to the last few years, like we've worked very hard to find cash buyers. You have to go above and beyond. Now, guys, don't lose that mentality. Mm-hmm. But now you have the skill set and you find the correct way to dispo your deals for an efficient price that you don't burn people. Like, you don't want to burn people. Like, take this price or like, that's it. The idea is develop relationships, but there's a fair and equitable way to do it. Remember, you work hard for these deals. You can't just give them away. In the beginning, my first 2 years, I just gave stuff away because I didn't understand. But I'm going to be honest with you, cash buyers were tough when I first started. Then I went through another wave in 2009. And then we went through this in the early 2020 to where we are now. And so listen, just go to freewholesaling.com. I teach you how to dispose of your properties for the highest price without being like doing a cheesy, like, I don't want you to be a realtor. If you want to wholesale a property and use a realtor, then use a realtor. I'm okay with that. But the fundamentals of wholesaling is the competition is from your cash buyers. Why is that good for your wholesaler? Because it gives you higher prices and you don't have to struggle. And more importantly, it reduces your time from the time you put it under contract to the time you sell your contract to a cash buyer. And guys, listen, for the last 3 years, you've been fed that. I've watched people predict from 2020 all the way up to this point, everything's going to crash, it's going to crash. And all they do is reforecast and they have a short-term memory. And then everybody tells you about wholesaling is going to go away. It's going to be dead. Guys, look past it. You guys are smarter than that. You can get this done.
So before we have to talk about this next thing. This is really important. But I do want to preface this by explaining this to everyone. And this is a controversial statement, and I'm going to get a lot of heat, and there's going to be everyone screaming in the comments. But as much as everyone loves to hem and holler about politics, okay, I'm going to tell you something you have to understand. The president of the United States is not going to dictate if you are going to become a millionaire next year. I want you to truly, truly, truly understand this. People are made out to think that if this one person's president, the world is over.
Correct.
And if this other person's president, the world is over. And that's the reason why you're not going to become a millionaire. Okay, let me be completely and fundamentally clear. Whoever is going to be president is not going to affect if you're going to become a millionaire next year or not. Well, let's just get that out of the way. That is an excuse. So I talk about excuses all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But thinking because somebody is on the left or the right as president, that's the reason why I suck. I get in arguments. I stop arguing. I'm like, okay, let's talk about this president being elected. Most likely this year, we are going to have a split Congress. I think there's it's almost a guaranteed.
It's inevitable.
It's inevitable because the Senate's going to be one way. And if it goes the other way with the president, then the House is going to be another way. When you have gridlock, that is the best thing ever because nothing gets done, which I love. But even if, let's say, the president has this crazy policy, okay, so something insane, all right?
Mm-hmm.
I think the craziest political bill that ever got done in the past 5 years was that one where they wanted to ban air travel for the environment. I'm not getting political, okay? I just think that's crazy, okay? Yeah. FYI. If you look at how much the economy works with air travel, like Amazon and all these things, like that's kind of crazy to do. You know why it didn't pass? Because the other side would have never passed that. And so it just didn't go anywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have checks and balances. I'm somebody who completely, fundamentally, with my dying breath, will believe in the United States Constitution and our founding fathers. The founding fathers have created this system of government. So if somebody, even if we have a crazy president, we have a judicial system. We have the legislature for the people, by the people.
Or a dumb president.
And we have the executive. Okay? We're not getting into that. So this means what's going to happen coming November, it doesn't matter. They are not going to have full control of the Senate, Judiciary, Supreme Court. They won't.
And they want to have control of wholesaling, most importantly.
And they won't have control of wholesaling.
You do, though.
So just understand this. My favorite is when you guys, and let me talk about men, okay, specifically. You're guilty of this too.
I am a man.
Men will go out here and talk about, my wife, she watches The Real Housewives. It's all scripted. It's stupid. They're just doing it for entertainment. And what do these housewives have to do with your life? They'll do that, right? They'll make fun. And then they'll go watch their news about who the president is and like watch them speak on a teleprompter and just tell you lies all day. And they think it's something different. And us men will watch grown men in tights play football and make that our whole identity of how we're happy or not on a Sunday. So guys are just as guilty of this as anyone else. At the end of the day,
so we watch football over housewives then, right?
It's the same thing. They're both in tights and they're both acting half the time. You know, Mahomes the script is already set for him to win.
Yeah, but the housewives aren't getting their head bashed in when they don't slide.
I know. So, okay. But basically what I'm trying to explain to you is we're going to talk about some political things really quick. I'm part of the Wholesaling Real Estate Party. That's my political party. But what I will tell you is stop telling you that, oh, if this person wins, then it's over. Let me tell you, the greatest 2 times in wholesaling real estate, the greatest in Rick's lifetime and my lifetime, the 2 greatest times in looking back of wholesaling real estate was 2012 to 2016, 2017. And then the boom from 2019 to 2021.
Correct.
Am I correct?
Yes.
In those 2 instances, we had a president who was on the left, who people still to this day say is the devil, some people. And we have a president who is to the right, who the other half say is the literal devil incarnate, right?
Yeah.
They both think that person's the devil, and they both were in charge of the 2 biggest booms in wholesaling. So we could talk about the politics and all this stuff, but it kind of shows you that, like, even if it's a left person or a right person, there's plenty of opportunity for wholesaling.
Yeah.
So that just
guys, just cast your vote and put it to bed and put your energy towards wholesaling, your family, and developing yourself. Because if you spend that much drama on it, you're not going to fix it. You're not going to sway them. And like once you realize this, like I cast my vote, I move on. The country's going to make a decision. How they do that, like you can debate it all day long. You have to learn to focus on the things you can control because there's a lot of things in life you can't control. And if you give your bandwidth this crap you can't control. It's not going to help you. It's not going to help your family. And it's just going to irritate you and annoy you. You just have to move on. This too shall pass and we'll survive. It doesn't mean we're okay with it. It just means, hey, I just got to move forward. And listen, who's ever in there, they're not going to have a direct impact on wholesaling. Honestly, the impacts that they even get down, push down, it takes years and years to get an effect. And honestly, whatever they screw up, we just like spin it around. Like one party is suggesting a $25,000.
Okay. So let's talk about this. One party is suggesting, which you can look it up, a $25,000, if they're elected, a $25,000 home buyer incentive. Now, I'm not telling you this is good or bad. I'm just going to tell you what if this does get implemented, which I believe Congress has to pass this, which I don't think is going to happen. The president does not have power to go do this.
Well, in the past, they've done $10,000 incentives. And I can only look at the past. The $10,000 incentive jacked the price up.
It jacked the price up like crazy.
It went up. It made the house $20,000 to $30,000 more. So builders specially price it in because they get the most traffic on this. But I'm here to tell you, these government programs are like, they're just an oxymoron. Like they think that's going to help. You actually hurt them by doing this, by jacking up prices and jacking up demand. You'd be better off not providing that incentive and just keeping demand regular for the people that can actually afford it and do it. So I'm just when you see these, they're pure gimmicks. Now I will tell you, this actually has a positive influence to a wholesaler because why? More people are looking to do fix and flips. They want to do more projects, and nobody loves more than a fix and flipper, especially a guy or gal on TV, to just show this beautiful house and then offer this $25,000 incentive. What you don't understand is they jack the price up so much and they know everyone's going to get a $25,000 bump. It's just kind of ridiculous. So these incentives, even though maybe you don't want that party, it would help real estate out. Now, does it help you out personally? That's a whole nother debate. But I'm telling you, these 10, 20, 30 grand, 25,000, what they're offering, it's just going to. So when we talk about prices, we believe prices aren't going to go backwards. They should stay steady and eventually go up with time. So when you do programs like this, it more reinforces, if that other party gets elected, it more reinforces the model that I'm telling you. Remember, I look at the fundamentals. I'm not looking into the future. I just look into the past. Do you understand that? Most people who come on shows like this, they just want to be like, they just want to be predictors. And anybody can predict anything. Everyone has opinion. The smart ones look at the past. Hey, this is the historical data. What rhymes with what's going on today? That's all we're sharing with you today, specifically the wholesaler. You notice I'm not talking about fix and flip projects and how to refinance your house and like how to access additional capital. No. What is the net effect to the wholesaler? That's what you need to understand. So if you know supply is going to stay about the same, demand's going to go up, and one party wants to provide incentives for new home buyers, guys, this is going to drastically affect demand. So listen, everyone tells you prices are going to crash and inventory is going to explode. I think we've pretty much killed that one. So with everything the way it's going right now, do yourself a favor. If you want to look towards the future, when it comes to any type of economies or businesses, just look at the historical past. Remember, watch what people do, ignore what they say, and you will save yourself so much aggravation. I wish you guys would just use this on social media itself, but like anybody can say anything. It's like, look to the past and you can kind of predict the future.
There's this one real estate wholesaling guru. It was so funny. This person's like Mr. All Zen Buddha, like, oh, be the best guy in the world. And then they're on social media, like making fun of like how someone looks and like, remember that one? That was so funny. Like I see stuff like that all the time. Like you get people who give you advice and what they do is completely different.
Yeah, we're not giving you political advice. I'll never tell you which way to vote. That's your decision. I will never. It's pointless for me to try to do that. That's like me trying to tell you how to invest in the stock market, how to invest in digital assets, and telling you what party to be affiliated with. Rock stars do that now. Like, you need to vote for this person or the world's coming to an end. It's like, guys, you have to use your mind. Wholesalers, we are a different crowd. We beat to our own drum. So don't take what me and Zach are telling you. Go look it up. I always tell you, if you just verify what anyone had said, we could fix most of the problems in social media, but no one's going to do it.
We both take the stoic idea of whatever's in your control, focus on. Whatever is outside of your control, don't focus on.
That's it.
And so what control do I have on politics? I will be voting, in November. You will be voting in November. That is as much control as I pretty much have.
That's it.
That is it. Okay. So, but here's the cool part. Do I want to make money next year?
I do.
I have complete control for that.
Yep.
I can do a vote, but outside. So FYI. Now, let's kind of talk about the guru warning, right?
Uh-oh.
You are going to see the resurgence of the burrs.
Oh, it's cold in here. So if you guys don't know what the burr method is, so by the way, this is, I hate to tell you, I'm going to tell you right up. This is going to be very controversial. Burr is not a wholesaling method. That's why I don't talk about it. Everyone's like, you teach the burr? No. See, the wholesaler finds the deal and sells it to a burr guy. Do you understand the difference? The burr means you buy. I always forget it. You buy rehab. Rehab, rent, and refinance. Yep. That's it. Guys, what part of that has wholesaling written in it? But like everybody wants to make some extra. Let me show you the bird. Listen, refinancing has always just been an old school strategy. Dude, it's been around 250 years. This is not new. And a lot of you guys get mad. Listen, a wholesaler finds the deep discounted property.
Oh, you can't repeat.
Oh, repeat. There's another R in there. And listen, they come out of the WordWorks when the rates drop down. But guys, listen, I'm just telling you, you got to deal with banks and all sorts of HUD fees, and like it has nothing to do with wholesaling. If you want to do the strategy, knock yourself out, but you don't need a coach to do it. It's like you need a mortgage broker. You can deal directly with the bank. It's really not hard. But like, so let me get this. The burr guy, ready? You have to be an incredible wholesaler to get the discounted property. We check that off the box. After that, remove the R, the R, the R, and the other R. Because rehabbing, I don't teach fix and flip. Fix and flips honestly for people who are going to speculate. Now, do I do some fix and flips? Yes, I do. But I understand I have an unidentified cost, I'm guessing, and sometimes it blows up against you. Trust me on this one. So that is an entire another skill set. Then you have to rent and you have to learn how to be a landlord. Another skill set that should be of a focus, and you can get help from people to get a property manager. And then you've got to figure out how to refinance the property, structure the pull out the cash. And remember, that is a method because you have to have some sort of a lease in place usually. And the longer the lease is in place, the better the terms you're going to get for it. Because a lot of the refis, there's structures. They won't give you more than 50 or 70% of it. And guys, how can I bottle that all up in wholesaling? You can't. So focus on getting the deep discounted properties. When you get really good at that, then you can add more techniques to your portfolio. The problem with burr is they try to take all the courses and structure in the one. And the most important part of burr is the buy. That's where the wholesaler comes in. And the last thing I want to do is distract you and teaching you how to do a rehab, manage a project, and then teach you how to rent the property. That's not overly complicated, by the way. And then I got to teach you how to structure it so you can go to the bank. And then maybe I'm going to put a cute little name on it and I'm going to teach you. And don't tell the bank this, don't tell the bank that. Guys, focus on wholesaling, man. This is the skill set where it's going to pay you. All these others, they're like, oh, but I took 50 grand out tax-free. Until you pay it back. And then number two, you got to service that monthly debt. And then you're going to repeat it. Do you have the reserves if you have a vacancy or anything like that? Oh, yeah. Some of you aren't prepared for that. I went through that. I'm just telling you, we focus on the B, which we're just going to call wholesaling. The rest of it is designed to distract you to where the water gets so muddy, you got to get help. I'm going to tell you, you're going to get pounded with ads on this stuff because it's just, and then they go away when the fundamentals leave.
Oh, yeah.
And guys, listen, borrowing money there is a time and a place for it. But as a beginner to borrow money and do that, it can be very reckless and get you and your family in a lot of trouble. Focus on wholesaling, make a ton of money with that. Take that money and buy assets that pay you. and then you can rent them out. I don't want you to get in the rehab business, guys.
What did Warren Buffett say? Warren Buffett said that 3 L's are the only way you could ever lose your money. He said liquor, ladies, and leverage. Those are the 3 ways
you could put men in there too.
What do you mean?
Well, for women.
Yeah. But like, that Warren Buffett basically said, he's like, that's the only 3 ways you can ever lose all your money.
Yeah, but
it's kind of funny, but it's true.
Yeah, and so you got to be careful with leverage. If you've had problems with the past, and the last thing I'm going to do is walk in there, because they all go, it's free money. It's not free money. It's tacked on to the house, and you have to make payments on it. And if you collect 3 or 4, and you hit a down economy or something crazy happens, what are you going to do? Like, and some of you are in states that are very pro renters. There's some states I would never even fathom to do the BRRRR method. But listen, everybody's an expert. Look at the average BRRRR guy. They're usually in the business like a year or 2. And there is a long-term, there's a lot of moving parts to that. Focus on one at a time and nail it and get really good at it. And then when you get the skill sets, the experience, do whatever you want. But a BRRRR as a beginning strategy, it's like throwing a beginner in the creative financing. You don't know the paperwork. You don't understand how to do the contracts. And then you're going to make a commitment, and then you're going to try to sell these properties, and you don't understand how the paperwork works, who's responsible for what. I love creative financing. I think BRRRR is kind of cool. I don't like the rehab part of it, because that's usually where you guys get your butt kicked. You ever try to do a rehab project with no experience? Welcome, Mr. GC, because he's going to be your new partner, because they're going to take you for everything it's worth, and they're going to triple the timeline. And the last thing, because a lot of people get in these projects for a year. Do you know how many wholesale deals I could teach you to do in a year? I could destroy BRRRR. I believe BRRRR is created to distract people from the fundamentals of wholesaling, because it is hard work, but it is the most highest paid skill set you can do. Doing rehabs, figuring out how to rent a property out, and doing refinance is low set skills, in my opinion. The rehab's it's just an entirely different business. And if you don't like managing people and being difficult with them, don't even try it, because you'll get killed. So for that reason, guys, they're coming out. You're going to get ads. You're going to see a bunch of podcasts. You're going to see live videos on it. What the gurus like to do is like, let me bring in my buddy that specializes in BRRRR. Bottom line is, you introduce me to your audience, and I get you a kickback on it. And it's going to be extremely popular. So guys, please don't fall for it. It is, if you want to do it down the line, knock yourself out to it, but like, understand what you're getting into. A lot of those are 1-year commitments for one property. Listen, most of you are just trying to get your first few deals under contract. Let's focus on making the money, putting it in your bank account, and making your bank account look like a phone number.
That's it. Exactly right. So where are mortgage rates heading? I think it's pretty obvious.
Yeah, we've already discussed it.
What's the low end, do you think?
4.5.
I think 4. I think 4. If now there's another presidential candidate that, I'm not going to mention names for the algorithm, but this person wants it at negative rates or 0%, right?
Yeah.
You got the other person who's like, they don't really have any policy, so I don't even know where they're at. But it's very interesting, right? And so just FYI, heck, some people argue that we don't even have a president right now, and we're just kind of in limbo. And things are going pretty smooth.
I don't think they know they're the president. That's like the problem.
It's like, remember The Office when the boss was in the Bahamas, and like, guess what? The thing kind of runs by itself without. It's just funny. But so basically, the answer is, recap. What does this mean for wholesaling? There's going to be more buyers coming in because of this, which means there's going to be more money to be made.
Yes.
Your sellers, they don't know, or they don't care about the federal funds rate or how this interest rates work.
Delayed effect.
They don't care. You have the advantage. So things are about to heat up. And so the kitchen's getting hot. So either you decide to stay in the kitchen or get out of the kitchen if it's too hot. But it's going to be insane how much money there's to be made. We are on a fun slide down. Now we have to talk about what happens when the slide's over. That is something we do have to talk about, because usually when slides end, things get a little weird. But I'll be honest with you, we've had a couple slides since 2008, but they really haven't hurt. And I'll tell you, I think we both internally had conversations about this Fed soft landing. I'm not saying you're out of the woodworks yet, but like, it's pretty impressive how they were able to bring inflation down without really destroying the economy. Pretty impressive.
But like,
I'm not here to like.
So listen, I will argue. So here's the only caveat with inflation. Like, I used to work for a corporation, and the idea was the requirement to get a promotion was you had to have 10% growth every year.
Yeah.
So here's one year I had 120% growth, and the next year I had 8. And guess what?
Yeah,
I got written up for it. So it's like I learned to pace myself. Yeah. So the problem is we had 1 year we went up 21% inflation, and now we're basically at 3%. So that means we're up 24%. If you average that over a 2-year period, you can do the math. It's like
we're not. We printed so much money into it.
I know, and so that's. And and the other factor that I'm not getting into politics. Our country owes $35 trillion. You have some. I don't think you could ever hit like a 15% Fed rates fund because there's no way the U.S. could ever pay it. So there are now restrictions that we've never had in our past.
I will say this: I have matured a little more on that topic. I will say there is research, and for everyone that screams about debt being the worst thing for the United States, if GDP and taxable income does go above what the interest rates are, you actually have a net positive for the economy. And so that's why, in my theory, I think they're always going to try to do that.
But Washington's always going to spend it.
No, they're always going to spend it. But if we're growing at 4% and you can borrow on 2%, they're going to try to make that spread all day.
Yeah.
But the problem is they've been trying to make the spread on 20% inflation, 7% interest with only 4% growth. And that's the massive issue.
So guys, vote wholesaling.
Vote wholesale. That's the best way to do it. And everyone's saying, "Oh, if this person." And here's the other argument that I will tell you. People say, "Well, if this person's in, then we're gonna have a World War III." Let me give you the truth about Albert Einstein said the greatest quote of all time about world wars. He said World War Zero was fought with sticks.
Yep.
World War I was fought with guns. World War II was fought with bombs, and World War III will be fought with sticks. And what he means by that is if we have a World War III, you don't even have to worry about wholesaling.
You don't have to worry about
anything. The amount of destruction that can happen if 2 countries decide to go at it, it's not back in the day when countries went to war. The worst thing that happens is you lose the war.
Yeah.
Right now, if that happens, we lose the world.
Yeah.
So I have to give it like that's the reason why our countries don't go to war anymore. Really, like it's there's little.
Let's just get off.
So
I'm
just telling you, like, don't be saying that, guys. You're fine. Now, let's talk about things that are actually going to make us money. Wholesaling real estate. If you want to learn wholesaling real estate for free, me and Rick have a free real estate wholesaling course. It's called freewholesaling.com. Teaches you how to get into real estate and how to start making money wholesaling houses. Now, what you're going to find too is if you want to actually meet me and Rick and actually come to our events and to stuff like that, you can actually join Flipwithrick Plus, and you're going to be able to come to our event in October where it's me, Rick, and best friends in the world.
We have a good time, man.
Plus, and it's basically an area where you can ask us questions, message us on our phones, and be in a community of 6- and 7-figure wholesalers. So it's coming out October 23rd, 24th. If you want to check it out, go to ETM 2024 or just join Flipwithrick Plus. Really excited. This is kind of our last way we're going to talk about it because we're about to hit our limit and we're just not going to talk about it anymore. We try to increase the limit of people coming, but it's going to be pretty cool. So ETM 2024 or flipwithrickplus.com if you want to go join there. And really cool announcement is at Escape the Matrix 2024, which will be recorded on YouTube for everyone to watch.
For everybody. No paywall.
No paywall, right? It was kind of cool. On Monday, we posted our Wholesaling Accelerator event, one of the clips. And do you remember? First call for one close.
Yeah,
I did one call.
That was a lot of fun.
Close. Crazy, right? But let's talk about what's going to happen on the Escape the Matrix. We have a really cool announcement. At Escape the Matrix 2024, we are going to announce version 2 of X Leads, which is insane. So we're really excited about it.
Was insane.
Version 2 is coming out. I will tell you this for X Leads. Go to xleads.com and check it out. There will be no price increase for existing customers. I can't guarantee that it's going to. There might be a price increase. There might not if you sign up after the announcement.
Yeah.
But before the announcement, your price is locked in. I will tell you, version 3, Rick knows about version 3. It's I said version 2.
I can't wrap my head around it. I really
version
can't.
2 is an explosion of the game. Version 3 is the implosion of it. And what I mean by this is version 3 is definitely gonna have a price increase. Being honest, I don't like that. But what I will tell everyone, which we've done this for pretty much anything we've ever done, we've charged for it. If you were paying $159 a month for the Pro plan, when version 3 gets announced, you will be paying $159 for the rest of your life.
We're loyal to people, loyal to us.
But if you cancel, you're going to have to redo with the new.
Yeah. So if you go in and out, you have that right. But
if you're the annual, that whatever annual price that you locked in, it's there for life.
So guys, we solved the dispo issue in X Leads, which is what you all wanted. We've taken all your feedback over the years, definitely in the last 90 days, and that's going to be part of version 2.
Requests.
Yeah,
and
so they weren't easy to do. They cost us a ton of money, but like we believe in it. So listen, I want to get you more deals. Me and Zach want to get more deals, and you have to have the best tools. We believe X Leads is the all-in-one wholesaling platform, and it's designed by wholesalers. For the first time, instead of getting these data geeks and getting people from these high-end universities, why don't we build it from the ground up where people go, hey, this is what I need to decide if it's a deal. In X Leads, we show you how to get the right wholesaling price, even if you have zero experience. And who else can do it for $49 a month if you do the yearly plan and you're able to pull lists, use the CRM? Guys, this is just the beginning. If you want to join us, I've been wholesaling for 22 years. He's been doing a really long time. And we believe in this industry. We've proved we're not going to go anywhere. And if you want to learn the fundamentals of wholesaling and really how to do it, start at freewholesaling.com. If you want to step up before you get an employee, get X Leads, because it's like having 4 employees work together with you. And we provide all the training. Even Saturday, we go on as long as you guys need, and we do live training on our X Leads YouTube channel. We believe in it. We use it in our business, and we want to support you. And we know how frustrated you are paying all these fees to all these different software companies. We're going to solve this for you. But start early because you will be rewarded. That's all I can tell you. So if you're coming out to the event, you're in for a special treat. It's going to be incredible. You get a firsthand walkthrough. You'll get it before anybody else does it. But listen, guys, if you want to spend more time on us.
FYI, we're giving everyone inside of it's going to be announced. Everyone who comes to the event is going to get the beta program for version 2. I'm not going to say it's going to be it's not going to be released, but it's going to be announced. And we'll allow any X Lead user we'll allow every X Lead user who comes to the event to get beta access, and some other people too. And then we'll make it public for everyone. So it's going to be pretty exciting. So
we want to give them a head start. But guys, we're here to solve the problems. Listen, we only listen to you. We have earmuffs for anybody else other than economic data and what's going on with our country. But like, we just focus on wholesaling and what you guys need to be effective. And you guys are massively distracted. Everyone's trying to pull all the money out of your pocket. And me and Zach have found a way to make it reasonable, get it done without all these giant $10,000 paywalls.
I saw it's ridiculous. The other day. It was $150 a month for CRM.
Just the CRM.
I said, what? $150 a month. I'm like,
I mean, some of you guys are paying $700 to $1,000 a month. Like, so look at the value, make sure it's a useful tool. But like, we don't advertise, we don't do any of it. Why? Because we try to keep the cost in line. We don't do affiliates. We don't do all that other stuff. Why? Because we own the product. We believe in it. We use it. We train it. We show you how to do it. We JV on deals with it. I can't give you any bigger of an endorsement. Like, we're all in. So if you want to join us, it's great. If you don't have the money for it, set aside, get a deal. When you get a deal before you get an employee, hop on.
Okay. So let's talk about if you don't have the money for it. Okay. Even better. All right. I have a way. There's just less to even talk about. Okay. We have a Discord called ZachDiscord.com.
Oh, yeah.
I will be going live at ZachDiscord.com. Let's make it big. Okay. I'll be going live at, where is it? Right here. So at ZachDiscord.com, which is me and Rick's Discord, by next year, it should be the largest Discord in the country for wholesaling. It's definitely the most active. If you go to ZachDiscord.com, I will be going live at 8 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow, and I will be dropping knowledge and telling you things that I cannot speak about on YouTube, and it's not recorded. So if you can go there and check it out and be in a community with thousands of fellow wholesalers, it's like a $10,000 paid community that's free.
That's crazy.
It's pretty dang cool.
Yeah.
Rick goes live every other week or every week there, and it's pretty cool. And then we're going to go live on the XLeads YouTube channel on Saturday. If you have XLeads questions, I think a lot of people who are XLeads users have questions. Hop it on there, and we'll talk to you. But I'll see you guys tomorrow on the Discord. If you're not in there, then you won't be able to see me on that live. So that's it. So guys, if you got any value from this video, do me a favor. Make sure you smash the like button, subscribe. We really, really appreciate it. And go out here.
Guys, share this video and give everybody the truth on where we stand in a wholesaling community, because the one thing that I pride myself on is giving you guys the real truth, the good and the bad, and I want to just make you a successful wholesaler.
That's
so
it.
we
And
appreciate
remember,
it.
Success is in your hands, not anyone else's.
Take accountability. Let's do it.